G'day everyone, Brian here, and let's crack on. We're going to do day 2 of our two-day birding tour in Langkawi with JungleWalla Tours. And again, we had Vanusha as our guide. So they picked us up at 3:30. We had to reschedule the morning tour, so we ended up doing that a couple of days later. We ended up going out in the afternoon, again picked up about 3:30, and we headed to this area with these granite hills. And again, I think I forget what we were looking for. Asian fairy, bluebird, something like that. I think I've got it here in my notes. Just bear with me, I'll get to it. We stopped on the roadside near there and saw black-headed or black-naped oriole. Again, kind of common, not always easy to photograph because they do like to flit straight into trees and into the foliage behind there, so you can hear them. And you try to, excuse me, can't do anything about the flyovers here, folks. Right on the flight path, and it's right across the seaside area here in Kota Kinabalu, Borneo. And my apartment just isn't suitable for doing videos, too small, and the coal's working, and the pool is always packed full of kids yelling, which is even worse than the sound of planes flying by. So we saw black-naped oriole, ruby-cheeked sunbird again, which I still haven't managed to get a decent shot of yet. Black-headed bulbuls, which was the first time we'd seen those on this. I'd seen those on this trip to Asia in general, because I did birding around Kuala Lumpur as well, in parks, city parks there. Red-eyed bulbul and yellow-vented bulbul. Hill miners, which are so much nicer to look at than the usual common miners you get here. And my first and only look at one of my targets, the chestnut-headed bee-eater, and it just so happened that when I did see it, the one I saw, and I have seen some here in Kota Kinabalu as well, this one flew straight out, landed on this perfect perch, and you'll see the image at the end of the video in great light, so that was great. So another target, I guess, ticked off. Then headed towards these Buddhist and Hindu temples, which are at the base of this area of the granite hills. Caught a brief glimpse of Asian fairy bluebird. I'm not sure, I think it was nesting in around this little crevice in the granite, but it was quick, like they're gone, no time to get a photo. We saw a few oriental pied hornbills, and one was actually had a nest built in, I guess it was in one of the crevices high up on the granite hills, and also a few others just flying around, but not much else. Then we went to a small mangrove area not far from where we were staying at Pantai Senang in Langkawi, which is the main tourist area of Langkawi, and saw our first collared kingfishers. We also saw Brahminy kite, yellow-vented bulbuls, common sandpiper, brown-throated sunbirds, which I saw a number of times because I went back a couple of times as well to this area, now that I knew where it was, and some nice close flyovers of oriental pied hornbills. Now there are plenty of other birds, but I'm not going to constantly mention by numbers. There's quite a lot of birds flitting around, even right in the tourist areas in Langkawi. But doves, crows, sparrows, common miners, Asian glossy starlings, there's so many of them. So there are other birds, but I'm not going to constantly mention that I saw sparrows and things like that. But there are plenty of them there. And again, they can be seen in big numbers. And our main target here, and it was a target elsewhere as well, but our main target here was the endemic brown-winged kingfisher. And it's kind of the same sort of size and shape as a stork-billed kingfisher, but with brown wings. And there is a blue flash on the kind of just above the tail, or lower back area. And I guess if it turns a certain way, which it didn't, you can see that, but you can certainly see it when it took off and flew, you can see them. So there you go. There's the giveaway. We saw them, and just so happened that, especially hanging around this one restaurant there, and it didn't seem to mind because this restaurant was getting, because it was late in the afternoon, going on dinner time, I guess, post 6 p.m, but still light, sun setting at around 7:30 in Langkawi, and just didn't seem to be bothered by people at all. So we spent quite a bit of time just sitting and watching these brown-winged kingfishers, and a lot of photographers and birders go there to see this bird. So it only took us 5 minutes to find one, and Summer setting, spent our time there. After again we saw the collared kingfishers, stuff like that, and time to go home and chuck it in for the night. So on our last morning, as I mentioned, we had to break it up, had to reschedule that one. But our last morning, so we ended up having 4 tours, 2 morning, 2 afternoon. We headed to another large mangrove area, or a larger mangrove area, for a boat tour. Low tide is kind of what you're looking at for kingfishers, especially because they will hunt in low tide. Too low, depending where you are. If it's just a muddy bank and they mainly hunt for fish but not crabs, then you kind of got to watch for that, and I'm sure I mentioned that again here. So this, with JungleWalla tours, because they advertise in Langkawi a lot of mangrove tours, mangrove boat tours. But JungleWalla goes to a certain spot where they aren't all the people and all the boats. So if you go to JungleWalla, you're going to go to a different area, and basically we're the only tourists on the river. And while we're there, so you're not going to get that unless you're on the specialist birding tour. And it's not a place you're going to walk around like the other little mangrove area, which is literally a roadway along the side of a small creek. And our main target was the black-capped kingfisher. And it only took us a few minutes. We kind of got on the boat, travelled across the river to one of the mangrove islands, and we saw our first one. And we ended up seeing about 6 in total. One with a catch of crab, also around 10 endemic brown-winged kingfishers. Now again, the advantage of being on this tour with JungleWalla was the fact that we go to this island and we're not surrounded by a bunch of people that are scaring off these kingfishers. Especially the brown-winged tend to be quite confident. The black-capped were definitely way more skittish. So less boats, less people, more likely to see them. Also white-bellied sea eagle, one perched up, juvenile Brahminy kite, striated heron, different egrets, and there was a common kingfisher down this little side creek, narrow but back. You could see it. Tried to photograph it, got a photo, but it was too grainy because it was way too dark to recover that photo of the common kingfisher. Why they call them common, I don't know. Because they don't look common, A, the look of them, the colours, and B, they're not necessarily that easy to photograph here at least. Certainly saw a lot more brown-winged kingfishers, though I did have luck later on my own. Super happy because we saw the black-capped, the beautiful black-capped kingfishers, stunning. So after the boat tour, we decided we were going to head to another mangrove area around the area of Tanjung Beach, and I'll put the spelling up. And we walked a track where ruddy kingfishers have been spotted from time to time, and we're really on a wing and a prayer. As our guide Vanosha said that between herself and the other JungleWalla guides, maybe they've seen 3 in 2 years there. So on a hide into nothing, but why not? We saw the black cap, may as well go check it out. You never know your luck. No harm, no foul. But it just so happened that right at the car park, at the beach car park, there was a fruiting fig tree. Go figure. And oriental pied hornbills flying in. There were so many of them. They were all over it. Then there was pied imperial pigeons that have flown in from an island across the ways. You can actually see it, part of Thailand from that beach. Asian coils, male and female, and the very pretty hill miner was coming in there and feeding as well. So it ended up being quite action-packed around this. Not a lot of species, but what great close-up looks, especially of the oriental pied hornbills. They're flying from one area, flying in, so we had fly-in shots. We had them eating figs and things like that as well. So that ended our 2-day birding tour with JungleWalla, so big thanks to our guide Vanosha, lovely lady. And it really is 2 tours in one, because you travel so much of the island, you get to see a lot of it, and a lot of people won't even go, because you're looking for specific areas, but also having to travel through other areas. And she can tell you about the history of the island, the geology, the geography, other animals, things like that. So it's like literally getting a private tour of the island plus a birding tour as well. So I recommend, especially for a short period of time, that you consider JungleWalla as a birding company to take you around. I will give them a 5-star for their service. They're on time, great communication, everything else, so I can recommend them. And again, almost like it is two tours in one. You get to see a lot of it. Langkawi, which is quite a large island. As we were in Langkawi for 8 nights and the birding tour was at the start, I went on to do some independent birding, which I've mentioned I think in the first video, day 1. From what I've learnt, so I could just go back to the spots that we've been taken to, and I might do a third one about my time there, because I had some interesting times birding on my own. Anyway, more on that later. So I'm going to throw up some pics of our day tour, birding tour with JungleWalla on Langkawi Island. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.